They say they want to hear that wrong shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. They go better with coach. They say they think I'm wrong with coach. See me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gonna stop it. They say they want to hear that wrong shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my dumb. They see me, they like, ooh, shopping. I'm on my body. Real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I'm from my hobby, going up like a rocket. Can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage. So watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering, household and mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. So they like that, man. You cut up, nothing I can handle. 144 with a fool going around. Niggas be dirty like a sweet in a back door. So I play the corner like a plum with a back door. I'ma lead by example. They say they wanna hear that wrong shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach. They say they think I'm wrong with coach. I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling see? You locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's one way. You can check the residency. I reside down on the soles of their feet. Cause it's best before designer ain't no power in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling them weak. Get the cookies on his feet. Yeah, like it well done. Got the killers on the looking and they all red rum. Got you fucking scared some. Nigga banging on his feet. So my fucking head look black like red jump. Like the yellow air one. Homie, you ain't got a mess. I suggest you wear one. Going up. Doing a lot of talking. Feeling like a legend in this shit, little nigga, I'm past metric. Never feeling third, little nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like ass catcher. Shotty break the nigga ribs up like swipe left. We all stepping, kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7", put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, what you doing light. These hands are root GPS, a mean right. That's mean right, we build different, you know the vibes. And we saved them all spinach, we know the rhymes. I keep a 144 because I know it's high. Know it's dark, we know we're animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with camp again. Yeah, they said they want smoking, so we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym. They say they want to hear that wrong shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach. They say they think I'm wrong with coach. Keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gonna stop it. They say they wanna hear that wrong shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my dumb. Keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gonna stop it. They say they wanna hear that wrong shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my dumb. They see me, they like, keep on shopping. I'm on my body. Real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I'm from my hobby. Going up like a rocket. Can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage. So watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering, household and mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. So they like that, man. You cut up, nothing I can handle. 144 with a fool going around. Niggas be dirty like a sweet in a back door. So I play the corner like a plum with a back door. I'ma lead by example. Won't keep on stopping. Got this bitch on the hand. Got this bitch, got this drip. I need this bitch with the soap. It ain't rap, this is soap. Can't take a bitch, let you with the cough. They say they wanna hear that wrong shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. They say they think I'm wrong with coach. What? I feel how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settle and see. You locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's one west. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers down on the. Cause it's death before designer ain't no power in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling them weak. Get the cookies on his feet. Yeah, I get well done. Got some killers rolling up and they all rare rum. Got you fucking scared some. Get the banging on his beat. So my fucking hands up. Black, red drum. Like the yellow man. Only you ain't got a mess. I suggest you wear one. Going up. Doing a lot of talking at it. Feeling like a legend in this shit, little nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third, little nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break the nigga ribs up like swank. We all steppin', kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7", put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, what you doing light. These hands are through GPS, a mean right. That's mean right, we feel different, you know the vibes. And we saved them all spinach, we know the rhymes. I keep a 144 because I know what's kind. You know I'm with animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with cap again. Yeah, they said they want smoking, so we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym. They say they want to hear that raw shit. They nigga clicking and they bust shit. They nigga with up for the coach. They say they think I'm wrong for the coach. See me, they like, keep on chopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gonna stop it. They say they want to hear that raw shit. I'm on my way. I'm coming up like the bullshit on my way. Shalom Israel. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant GEN.YAHANNA. About the Bible since 1969 that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right. Before we get into the class, we'll just go over the class schedules. All right. Of the classes locally here in Trinidad. I.S.U.P.K classes, right? On a Monday, locally here in Trinidad, right, we have the history class, which is tonight, right? This class is usually done by Priest and Officer Makar Kobal, all right? I am Priest and Officer Mike. I'll be standing in for Priest and Officer Makar Kobal tonight, all right? On a Tuesday is the Brotherhood class, right? The Brotherhood class is done by Priest and Officer Sowapiala, right? On a Wednesday is the law class, which is done by Priest and Officers Matkwayak. Right. On a Thursday, we do not have any classes locally here in Trinidad, but from time to time we stream the classes out straight out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, with 12 Shield General Mahaiman. On a Friday, we have the Hebrew class, right, which is done by Priest and Officer Yakad. All right. This is a very good class, a very nice class. All right. This class is where you learn to read, write, and speak the Hebrew language, right, which is our native language, which is the native language of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? That is our language, right? So you could tune in, all right, and get yourself familiar with the language, right? You will learn a little bit of culture, right? You'll get to know more about the Hebrew language and the culture of our people, right? Our culture. On a Saturday, we have the Sabbath service, right? The Sabbath service is done by Priest and Officer Yakad and Priest and Officer Sowapiala, right? But from time to time, you may see other brothers conducting the service as well, right? On a Sunday, Salakia, on a Sunday is the Scripture breakdown class, right? This class is done by Priest and Officer Galawan. Priest and Officer Galawan is the head of the Trinidad and Tobago camp locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. All right. He does the scripture breakdown class, right? The scripture breakdown class is a highly interactive class, right? This class, you could
ask questions, right? Any question that you have about the Bible, and you will be able to get the answer for it. All right. And it is a very good class, and a very as I said before, a very interactive class. So you'll be able to go back and forth and have your questions answered in an orderly fashion. Right. All these classes run from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Right, with the exception of the Sabbath service. Right, the Sabbath service runs from 10 a.m. in the morning to 12 noon. All right, so you can tune in on all ISUPK platforms locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. We're on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, to interact with the ISUPK Trinidad and Tobago platforms locally. All right. Remember, if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe to the channel. All right, and that way you'll be able to get notifications on when the classes will be starting. All right. Also, you could tune into the ISUPK.com website, which is the official website for the school. All right, and you can view all different events that going on with the ISUPK locally here in Trinidad and even abroad. Right, we have schools literally all over the world. All right, you have schools in Brazil and the UK. All right, Jamaica, all over America. You have New York, you have Texas, right? You have DC, right? A lot of schools all over the globe, right? So under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, right? Commander GEN.YAHANNA is the leader of the nation at this time, right? And he's the Commander General of the I.S.U.P.K. All right, and you can tune into his classes. All right, he actually has a class tonight. Right, it is locally 9 p.m. in Trinidad. All right, so you can tune in which is called the Black Watch, right, which is the Black News for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And you can tune in and get some insight, find out what's going on in the world, find out what's going on with the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, and what steps we could take, right, to watch over our lives and our families, all right, and how we could better serve the Most High in the process, on the earth, right, under this oppression, right, or this white supremacy, right, coming out of the Empire of America, or Babylon the Great. All right, so these are the things going on with the I.S.U.P.K, the local I.S.U.P.K events here in Trinidad and even abroad. Right, so you could tune in and get familiar with the I.S.U.P.K platform. Right, you can make donations to the school, right, or through the I.S.U.P.K website, right, and also you can pay your tithes through the I.S.U.P.K website as well. All right, so with that, we're gonna get straight into the class. All right, and as the right, and you could, as you could see, the topic of the class, right, is about Christianity and lawlessness, right, and their relation with one another. All right, because a lot of people don't know that the Christian church does not teach anything righteous to our people. All right, from the early days of the Christian church straight up to now, right, we in 2021. All right, the Christian church continues to teach a lawless doctrine, right? A doctrine without rules and order. All right, when it comes to the Christian church usually fight for the right, right, to be lawless, right, and to be and to do what they want or how they feel about things, right? But according to the Bible, right, we're not supposed to do what we feel, right, or just come up with our opinion in our mind, right, how we feel to do things, right? The world doesn't operate like that, right? And the Most High created the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man according to the scriptures to be his chosen people, right? So all the Negro people, all the people of the slave trade, if your ancestors was from the slave trade, all right, the Bible says that your pedigree is determined by the seed of your father. All right, so all the if your descendants, right, on your father's side is from the slave trade, right, according to the Bible, right, you are an Israelite by blood. All right, the I.S.U.P.K is not a place where we take in members. All right, this is a nation that the world is witnessing, that is building. All right, so according to the Bible, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian people, right, are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right, and way back in the book of Deuteronomy, the book of Moses, right, our forefathers, right, was given laws, statutes, and commandments to keep. Right, and this record is written about in the Bible, right, in the King James 1611 Bible, right, and this is what Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 1 says about this event, right? It says, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. All right. So Moses and the elders of Israel commanded the people of Israel, right? Commanded our forefathers that we should keep the commandments that the Most High had given us, right? And most time when we hear about the commandments, we only think about the 10 Commandments, because that is basically what they portray on the media, right? Through the television and through movies and things on the internet. And then the Christian church now had a lot of a responsibility for this misinformation that keeps spreading, right? Because they never taught their members, right, that this law was the entire book of the Bible. It was not just 10 Commandments, right? It had other laws, right? It had laws on homosexuality and adultery and holidays, right? We were never supposed to celebrate holidays like Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving, right? And Independence Day, all right? All these things we were never supposed to be celebrated as a people, right? Because the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man was created as a chosen people unto the Most High, and we were supposed to be a holy people, right? A separate people. The word holy in the Bible means separate, right? We're supposed to be a separate people from all the other nations that are on the face of the earth, right? And we were supposed to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments in order for us to be an upright and righteous nation in the sight of the Most High, right? So way back in the beginning with Moses, right, he commanded us that we should keep these commandments, all right? When I go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1, it says, and it shall come to pass, if thou hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee high of the earth. All right. So this is what Moses, right, was teaching the nation of Israel, right, that if we were to keep the Most High laws, his statutes, and his commandments, right, we would be on high above all nations of the earth. I want to say above high all nations on the earth, right? It never said in equality or holding hands together, right? Because what the Christian church doesn't teach, right, is that the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people who make up the nation of Israel, right? This nation of Israel was supposed to be in rulership of the earth, right? The government from this nation was supposed to be in rulership of the earth. This nation was supposed to be the set the light, or be the beacon, right, or for the world to follow, right? And when you look at the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man today, right, he is nowhere there, right? He is literally in the bottom of society, right? All nations where you go, we full up the ghettos and the slums, right? Many of us flock to the Christian church or the Muslim mosque, right? Or Egyptology, right? All different type of religion we flock to, right? Because we, our forefathers, did not keep these laws, right? And these laws were supposed to pass down through our generations to our sons and their sons and their sons, right? But that didn't happen, and because that didn't happen, right, the Most High sent us into captivity. And as we go further along, we will get to understand how we were sent into captivity for not keeping these laws, right? So we will jump from Deuteronomy 28 and 1, and we will jump to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15, it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Right? And this is what happened to the nation of Israel. This is what happened to the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man at that time. Right? We did not keep, our forefathers did not keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? Right? We chose to be lawless and follow these other nations, right, into their pagan holidays, into celebrating things like Easter and Christmas and Halloween, right? We chose the pathway of the other nations, and it led to our destruction even up to today. Understand? So that is why when people ask the question, what happened to the black man? Like he cursed, understand? That is what it really is. The black man is really cursed, right? But it's not cursed in the way we think, right? It's not cursed, and no people say Obia or Maljo take the black man. It's not that, right? When the Bible talk about curse, the Bible is talking about punishment, right? And because we broke the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High at that time, right? He put us into captivity to serve under these other nations. So when you look at the black man today, he's serving under the so-called white man, all right? Under the Chinese, under the East Indians, under the Assyrians, right? We always working for everybody else, right? And even though you may see some prominent black people working a quote unquote good job, right? They cannot do anything for their nation. They have no bargaining power, no real power to make any dent, right? That could deliver blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian people out of the condition they're in. Understand? Right? So they are forced to blend in with these other nations, right? To try to be cool, right? Or to try to be cool with them, right? And in other words, if they actually tried to help the black man, it always keeps getting shut down, or they themselves are torn down from whatever the little fort that they build for themselves, right? So the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man was sent into captivity to serve under all these other nations. So when they look around and they see the black man always suffering, no matter what country you go to, this is not just by accident, but this is actually a punishment from the Most, a punishment from the Lord, right? And for us to escape and to come out of this, right? Um, um, we now have to come back and those statutes and commandments and follow the example that Christ has set for us, right? When he walked the face of the earth, right? Because he walked the face of the earth and he did it perfectly, right? And he managed, right, to show the earth, right, that he could do what? Come back as what? A man, right? He didn't come back as a half god, right? Or a demigod, or he had some special power. He came as a man and endured everything that a man will endure on the earth, right? And he came and set that example and showed that a man could literally walk the earth and walk in righteousness, right? And escape the evils, right? And reject the evils of this world, all right? So we didn't keep the laws, and the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man today, right? Our curse, right? We end up in the bottom of society, right? If you go down to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 16, it says, "Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field." And when I say cursed shall thou be in the city, right? Even if you choose to go out and live in the city and try to live the American dream, understand, or the Trinidad dream, right? Or always, once you are Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, you will always be in war. You will always be fighting, right? And struggling to make it. You understand? The Oakman TV station is struggling. The Oakman business is struggling. People coming against you, right? There's always a constant battle, right, to make it in society, all right? Because why? These nations has already formed a tumult against the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to keep the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man under oppression, right? To keep their foot on our necks, understand, for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to constantly stay in struggle. No matter where you go, no matter what city you go to, what country you go to, any city that they go in any country, the scripture says what? These curses will pursue you and overtake you, right? In the verse above, all right, will pursue you and overtake you. So no matter where you go, right, any city, these curses will pursue you, all right, and you will constantly be in this battle and this war, right, under oppression, right? And then they say, "Cursed shall thou be in the field." And even when they say, "Cursed shall thou in the field," even if you run to the country, you're still under the same oppression. Understand? You're still under hardship, still under poverty, right? The government coming to take your land, right? They want to take your land and put you into farming, right? So instead of you doing your own farming, them taking the land and then put you back into farming to work for them, right? And that is the curse the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man have to go through today. You understand where I'm from? If you're living in the city, you're living in the worst part of the city, the slums. Understand? If you manage to make a certain amount of wealth, right, and you're living in a nice high-rise apartment, you know how to look back at your heritage and your people and look at them in your high-rise building, looking at them in the slums, in the gutter, in poverty, constantly struggling. When you and your people supposed to be what? In rulership. Understand? Riding on high like the other nations, right? And when you look at today, you see all these other nations being totally destroyed. Understand? By all this corona pandemic. Understand? All these nations who once thought they were strong, right? The pandemic literally ripping them apart, right? And all this that we constantly seeing all over the world, all this chaos that happening all over the world, right? All this chaos is the work of the Most High doing His work upon the face of the earth, right? So all these things, right? Christianity does not teach, right? And because Christianity never teach the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man these things, and the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man make up the majority of these membership in these various church. And because the churches don't teach these things, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man live ignorantly, right? To the things that the Most High has laid down for him, right? The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man lives ignorant to his inheritance, lives ignorant to his culture, right? And his ability to gain his economic might or gain military might upon the face of the earth, because we don't know the things that the Most High has laid out for us, right? Because the church refuse to teach these things, right? These things are written in the Bible, and the church refuse. They pass over it. Understand? They rather teach about sowing a seed, right, or buying a prayer cloth. Understand? Or dancing and singing and jumping up, right? Right? And speaking in ridiculousness, right? Because literally ridiculousness, because that is not speaking in tongues, right? Right? And this is the ridiculousness that they cause the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to fall in, right? And make him constantly remain in the bottom of society, right? And they keep going in a cycle. They keep going to church Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, right? With no real spiritual growth, right? The church today is more carnal than ever. Understand? Right? All they care about is being blessed. Right? According to them, being blessed according to them is living in the biggest house and driving the nicest car. Right? While you watch your neighbor suffer, nothing to eat. Understand? Right? They have trained the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to hate his own people. Understand? All right. So when you see your own brother, you refuse to help him out of the condition that he is in. Understand? Just like um for the closing of the feast of unleavened bread, right? The feast of unleavened bread, right? And the Passover just recently passed, right? That was a really glorious event, and I stand to see all the entire nation, right, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA celebrating the Passover and celebrating the feast of unleavened bread. It was an amazing event. You understand? And when you look at we had the closing of the feast yesterday. You understand? And as our camp leader of Sagalan was bringing out, right? The Christian church is hypocrites, right? And it's rightfully so. You understand? Because they literally say one thing and totally do the other. You understand where I'm from? Right? The Bible talks about homosexuality, right? That a man shouldn't lie with another man, right? And then the Christian church will say, that is all right. You understand? We accept everybody and accept you in the same condition you're in, right? Right? And never tell you that is wrong or that is an abomination against the Most High. They wouldn't tell you that. You understand where I'm from? Because why the pastor want to do what? Gain whatever wealth that they come into the church with. You understand? So they would sacrifice the laws for filthy lucre, to gain money or to gain wealth or possession. Right? And that is the basis of the Christian church. So now we get to see, or now we're starting to see that how the Christian church and lawlessness, you understand, is closely related. They are relatives. All right? Right? The Christian church is no different. And when we talk about Christianity, we even talking about the Muslim mosque, right? And Egyptology, understand? And all these people who in Kemetism, this Egyptology doctrine, right? All this is Christianity. All that is Christianity. Understand? Because all of them do the same thing. Say one thing and do the other. Understand? Right? A man will profess to be a Muslim, and when the end of the year reach, he's celebrating Christmas. Understand? Or he's sending the trend down the road in Halloween. Understand? Right? Just like um the last couple years, just before the corona hit, because nobody can go out because of the corona now. But before, understand, you will see pundits, right? Beating Good Friday bubbly. Understand? Right? Which is a pagan custom developed by the Roman Catholic Church locally down here in Trinidad. I don't know if they do it anywhere else. Understand? So all these things, right? Celebrating Easter and Independence Day and all these things, right? All these say one thing but profess and do another. Understand? Right? Eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Right? The Bible has a dietary law, right, for the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to follow. Right? And they don't follow. The Christian church don't follow any of these things. And because the Christian church don't follow it, the Black man doesn't know the importance, right, of following the dietary law, right, for him to escape the physical disease and all these strange calamities that keep sending him to the hospital, right, and that's happening because he is ignorant of these laws that the Christian church supposed to teach, but they do not, right, and that is why we say the Christian church is lawless, right, and the Christian church fights to be lawless. Because every time you keep telling them and bringing out that they're supposed to be following this law, understand, or this is what they're supposed to be doing, right? They always fight to keep it the way that they know it, and the reason why they fight to keep it the way that they know it because why? They do not want to change. Understand? So if you tell them that they shouldn't be celebrating Christmas, they want to fight some angle to come in to keep celebrating Christmas, to keep eating pork, to keep eating crab, shrimp, and lobster, to keep celebrating Easter and Halloween, when none of these things are in the Bible. Understand? All of these things is against the scriptures. All of these things is against the Most High, right? And that all this continues to make the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man to continue to remain, right? To remain in sin, right? And a lot of people don't understand that all these laws and statutes and commandments in the scriptures is still in effect today, right? It still applies today just as much as it applied before, right? So you go jump to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17, and Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17 says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill," right? And this written in red, all right? And it says Matthew 5 and 17, right? And this is Christ talking here, right? And Christ talking and telling, right, his disciples that he didn't come to destroy the law. He come to do what? To fulfill it. You understand? He come to bring the understanding of the law. He come to show man on the earth how they could live a righteous life. And understand where I'm coming from? And how they could live a life, right? In following the laws of the Most High, right? And walking uprightly, right? Because the Christian church at times use the excuse that um, um, Christ was Christ was God, so he cannot do it, but we can do it. But that is not true according to the Bible. According to the Bible, Christ came on the earth as a man, understand, as an ordinary, everyday brother, understand, and he walked this walk and walked this life and perfected it, understand, and was able to fulfill all the prophecies that the prophets that had revealed about him, right, and to walk upright in the sight of the Most High, right. So every man who is an Israelite, right, is totally capable, right, of walking upright in the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Is totally capable of doing what is right. You understand? Right? And not sinning or breaking the Most High's laws, right? When they talk about sin, sin is not just doing, or the Christian church categorize it as doing bad things, right? But according to the Bible, a proper definition, definition would be First John chapter 3 and verse 4, right? We'll jump back to Matthew just now. Right? We will jump to First John chapter 3 and verse 4, right? And the book of First John chapter 3 and verse 4 says, whosoever committed sin transgresseth the law, for sin is the transgression of the law, right? So for you to commit sin, you must transgress the law of the Most High. When I say transgress the law of the Most High, breaking the laws the Most High laid down, right? So the Most High have laws on adultery, right? That they shouldn't sleep with the next man's wife, right? Right? If you break that law, if you go and sleep with the next man's wife, then now you're transgressing against the Most High, all right? Right? If you break the red traffic light, no, it didn't transgress against the Most High. That is but you would break the laws of the land, right? So you would be ticketed for breaking the red light, right? But there are certain laws that are laid down, right, in stone, right, for over generations by the Most High, right? And when they break these laws, these are the laws that make you transgress against the things of the Most High, right? Talk about homosexuality, right? A man shouldn't lie with a man, or a woman shouldn't lie with another woman, right? And this lesbianism and homosexuality that we see taking over the place today, all that is transgressing against the Most High. The Most High say that is an abomination to him, all right? So and the Christian church now encourages this, right? Because they support all the LGBTQ movement. Understand? You're seeing some other ministers coming out, imams and pundits and Egyptologists and all different people coming out and talking and coming out and saying that they are homosexuals, right? But according to the Bible, that is a abomination to the Most High, right? The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man were never supposed to pick up these customs, right? And this white culture, right, that they keep bringing to us, right? And trying to poison the entire world with it, right? The LGBTQZ community, the letters just keep getting longer and longer because it's just ridiculousness, right? And it's just because why they want to continue to be lawless, right? The entire world is, when you look at the news of recent, the entire world is just out of course, right? And anybody who have a basic understanding and basic mind and watching could know that the entire world is totally out of course. Understand? But for you to know and to navigate in this world and to do what is right in the sight of the Most High, that is why you need the I.S.U.P.K under command GEN.YAHANNA. Understand? Because the things we talk about in this in these scriptures, we do it. You understand where I'm coming from? Unlike the Christian church, we go in and teach the people, teach the nation of Israel these laws, these statutes, and these commandments, so that we be able to be what better better people in the sight of the Most High, and to one another. And for us to have that brotherhood to one another, so we wouldn't be evil to one another and looking to rip one another off. You understand? Because when businesses and things do business today, everybody looking to gain. And as I come from, everybody looking to have a smart way about doing things. Understand? Or I should say a deceitful way about doing things. Everybody looking to rip one another off, understand, and to see who could gain more, because what all this is white culture, all that has come from America and Babylon the Great and spread all around the world. Understand? If you have oil, America flying down to take your oil. You understand? Because they want to dominate the world and dominate things. Understand? And continue to bring other countries in extreme poverty or under extreme oppression. Right? And all these things, right? You could learn and understand how to direct and guide your life in a better way, in a more upright way. All right. So Christ did come and show that he didn't come to destroy the law, but to do what? But to fulfill the law and to bring that understanding to us, right? And to show us that we can do it. You understand? The Christian church will tell you can't be perfect. According to the Bible, you could be perfect. You could be a perfect and upright man on the face of the earth, right? And these is the deceitfulness that the Christian church do tell its members and do tell its people and make you feel, well, all right, well, I can't be perfect, so I would have stayed in my sin and rot. Understand? And according to the Bible, that this is not so. Understand? You could be an upright and perfect man in the sight of the Most High. Right? Jumping down to verse 18, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 18. Right? This is Christ talking here. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Right? And he said, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Right? And when you look at today, right, you could still see the heavens and the earth is still here. Meaning that the law is still in effect on the face of the earth. Right? The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man still has to walk upright and do what is right in the sight of the Most High. Understand? Right? And here in the I.S.U.P.K on that commanding GEN.YAHANNA, take it a step further. You understand where I come from? All right? As he has followed in the footsteps of our forefathers and doing what is right in the nation, and as I'm fighting for the truth of this Bible until death. You understand where I come from? Right? They have defended this truth and continue passing it down faithfully, right? So all the captains, officers, troopers, sisters, students, right, and even to our children, right, stood faithfully in doing what? Not making one jot or one tittle from the law pass. You understand? Right? We continue to walk upright and to walk faithfully in this truth. All right? Right? So these laws, right, in the scriptures, as we bring out here, right, is not done away with according to the Christian church. According to the Christian church, right, this was Old Testament doctrine, right? But I read in from Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17, which is in the New Testament. And even in the New Testament, right, Christ is saying what? That these laws, right, are not done away with, right? And the reason why the Christian church, right, will continue to preach opposite, right, to what the scriptures actually saying, right, is because they are hypocrites, right? And it's not me saying they are hypocrites, right? Even the scriptures, right, say that they are hypocrites, right? So you jump to Mark chapter 12, right? And we'll go to Salakia. Let me find this quick here. Salakia, we'll go to Luke chapter 12 and verse 1, Babakusha. All right, and it's saying here, in the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude, in so much that they trod one upon another, he began to say to his disciples, first of all, right? So there's Christ, right? And he was about to teach the people, and a lot of people was there, a massive amount of people, right? To the point where there was trodden upon one another, right? And this is the first thing Christ is telling his disciples and the nation and the nation of Israel, right? He say, beware, right, of the leaven of the Pharisees, right? The leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, right? And that is with the Christian churches, right? And he is drawing this reference because it was in the feast of unleavened bread, right? But he joined this reference, right, to show how the Christian church are hypocrites, right? For those of you who don't know, the scribes and the Pharisees, as you hear about in the scriptures, if you ever hear about the scribes and the Pharisees, they were like our modern Christian church today, right? They were the TD Jakes and the Pastor Coffees and the Pastor Gemmas and all the archbishops in these local Catholic church down here. They were the Christian church today. All the imams and Egyptologists and all these. Understand? They were these men, right? They were what? Hypocrites, right? Because they would teach the people one thing and they themselves never used to do it. And so when you look around today, and it's a Christian pastor, he had 29 million, right, in his church. And understand where I'm from? And what did he do to help the people? Nothing. Nothing. Understand? And every day they would come to church and preach about giving to the poor and helping the fatherless and the widow, right? And they themselves would not do it. You understand? And he decided to stack up his 29 million inside the church. You understand? And not use it towards the things of the Most High. Right? When you look at the Roman Catholic church in Port of Spain, right? They decided to keep a bikini modeling show inside the church, right? And some of them even pose all on the pulpit. You understand? Right? And they're showing off the nakedness inside the church. Right? So the Christian church say one thing and they totally what? Do the opposite. Understand? Right? When you go all to Egyptology, right? They will talk about how great Egypt was, understand, and all these things, and they don't have not one law, understand, to show how they properly raise their children to point them in the right direction, understand, or you would see our Egyptologists celebrating Christmas and Easter, which is a pagan holiday. You understand where I'm from? Right? And Halloween, right? Voting for the American president, right? But yes, but on the next hand, you're teaching Egyptology was great. You understand? So you're supporting, right, the hypocrisy of all these other nations, and you yourself not doing what you preach about, not building your people. If you say you're so-called from Africa, right, and your bloodline so-called from Africa, right, because according to the Bible, the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, the Negro man of the Americas, whose ancestors from the slave trade, we are not Africans. And understand, we are Israelites according to the Bible, right? But you would hear Egyptologists um, professing and proud to be African, right? But then again, you don't see them stretching the neck. Understand? Right? How come everybody who say they is African, right, and come from Africa, they're always in the tribe, right? With the colored clothes and the whatever kufi hat or whatever that they have on the head, right? This African headpiece they have, right? The women always from the tribe with the big head wrap and all the colored clothes. Nobody don't want to be from the tribe stretching the neck. Nobody don't want to be from the tribe stretching the lip. Nobody don't want to be from the tribe stretching the ears and putting some big disc in it. Understand? Nobody want to be from the tribe that drinking horse pee. Understand? Right? Or cutting up the body with razor blade. Right? Nobody want to be from that tribe, right? All these African tribes, everybody want to be from the head wrap tribe, right? Right? Nobody who professing to be Africa, I never hear them. They never say my birthland is Somalia. Nobody. Understand? Nobody. Everybody who identifying with Africa, they don't want to be from the bad parts of Africa. They want to be only want to be from what? The so-called more prominent parts of Africa. Right? And that's to show you the hypocrisy in all these religions. Understand? Right? And ideas that men come up with in their mind, right? But according to the Bible, we are not supposed to be hypocrites, right? If I say I believe in the Bible, then I'm supposed to believe in everything in the Bible, from cover to cover, all right? Right? I'm not supposed to be choosing what I want to believe in, right? And that is what the Christian church does do. The Christian church choose what they want to believe in, right? And the others did it, and the rest they just throw it away. And understand? They make up an excuse and say that is from the Old Testament, right? Right? Or they say or most of the prominent pastors that say that is from an old dispensation. They like to use that word. Understand? Right? Just to escape, right, from having to what follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. From just to escape from doing what is right according to the Bible, because they want to continue to be what they want to continue to be what pedophiles, right? And they want to continue to be homosexuals and lesbians, right? They want to continue to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. They want to continue to celebrate Easter and Halloween and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was the slaughter, right? Are the native Indians. They want to continue to celebrate these things, right? They want to continue to celebrate New Year's after the god Janus. Understand? All these things, right? They want to continue to celebrate, right? But the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, that is why we say the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man needs to come out of the Christian church, because the Christian church destroys the mind. Understand? The Christian church continue to make the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man suffer, right? In the lowest parts of hell. And when we say the lowest parts of hell, the lowest parts are the ghettos and the slums, right? We continue to be on welfare, high in HIV, syphilis, AIDS, cancer, right? All these things not happening to the black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man by accident, and the Hispanic man being killed out by drugs, right? All these cartels, the men barely living to reach 30, understand, right? Because they're dying to gun violence, right? And the rest who hook on the drug dying from drug overdose, right? Because why? We didn't know that all these cultures that we pick up is not our culture. Right? The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man are the chosen people of the Most High. We never used to smoke drugs. The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man not supposed to be smoking weed and cigarettes, right? That is not part of our culture, right? And when you look at these drugs, right? The drug is always to destroy the man. It's always doing something to the man. Understand? It's always leading to his destruction, right? And you go say, well, that's my choice. I choose to smoke cigarette, or I choose to smoke weed, or I choose to smoke cocaine. Understand? But then no, because you choose that, that is a form of selfishness. Understand? Because you killing yourself, right? And you're leaving a trend and your wife behind. Or if it's a woman, she leaving she trend and she husband behind. Because you choose to do what? Smoke weed or smoke drugs. Understand? Or do cocaine. Understand? You being selfish. Understand? You leaving a trend fatherless. Understand? Or leaving your wife a widow. Understand? That is you being selfish, because you choose, you feel, well, I could do it. I'm a big man, I could do it. Right? And when you get lung cancer or syphilis or HIV and die, you understand? Right? You leave them behind to fend for themselves, to be what? In hell, to suffer, to continue to have a slave in the ghetto. Then you're trying now to doing what? To have to turn to a prostitution. Right? And the cycle goes on and on. Understand? Right? Your boyfriend grew up with no father. Right? They're growing up soft and effeminate, just like the Christian church. Just raise the men in the Christian church soft and effeminate. Right? They're afraid to even grow a beard. Understand? As a man. Understand? And that is a sad condition that this society has reached to. Right? In this stage. Right? So the Christian church is full of hypocrisy. Right? Right? We will jump to James. We jump to James chapter 1 and verse 22. Right? This is James 1 and verse 22 in the New Testament. And this is where James 1 and verse 22 saying, but be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. And this is what is happening in the Christian church. And as I'm coming from, the Christian church that do what? Deceive their own self. And as I'm coming from, right? Because they will read it, right? They will dance, they will sing about it, understand? Right? The pastor will preach he 1 minute sermon about it, but they will not do any of it. Understand? It will go in one ear and come out the next. Right? As a local saying down here, right? They will not put any action onto it. Right? And that is what makes the Christian church hypocrites, right? And full of hypocrisy, right? Because they never actually do what they say, right? They will talk about all day. It's easy to talk about, but when it's time to put it into action, right? They will never put it into action. And when I think about it, just think about it. Look at any church you think about, right? Or it always have some level of hypocrisy in it. Understand? Because they do not apply the things that is written in the scriptures, right? And if we jump down to verse 23 in James chapter 1 and verse 23, this is what it says. It says, if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man beholding Salakia, his natural face in a glass, right? I want to say beholding your natural face in a glass. They're talking about a mirror. A man that's watching a mirror, right? So the man who is the doer of the word, right? Right, Salakia, who is the hearer of the word, right? Who goes in one ear and come out the next, and he doesn't put any action into it. He doesn't do anything about it, right? He is like a man looking in a glass, right? And I'm going to continue, right? Verse 24, right? For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forget what manner of man he was. Understand? So he look in the glass, right? And he see himself, right? And he say, as soon as he leave, as soon as he walk away, if he forget who he was. And that's where I come from, right? And that is a metaphor, because it's not actually just talking about you looking at yourself in a mirror. Understand? But it actually showing you you know the person that you could be. Understand? Or you know the person that you should be. Understand? But immediately what you do, you walk away from that. Understand? You choose to do what? Be in the world. Understand? Be about the things of the world. Right? And one of the major responsibility organizations, right? Or all these institutions responsible for that is Christianity. Full of Christianity. All this, right? And when it's Christianity, and again, when we say Christianity, we talking about the Muslim mosque Egyptology, the Christian church, all them fake Israelites, everybody. Understand? Right? That do not apply the scriptures. All this, right, is what it's called what? Hear the word. You understand? Right? The scriptures show these Christians what they should be, what they should do, how they should talk, how they should walk, how they should live. Understand? But they choose to do what? Keep celebrating Christmas. Keep celebrating Easter. Understand? Right? They continue to choose to be lawless. Understand? And they say, you know what? Nah, when I get old, I will stop smoke weed. Understand? That is what the Christian church that teach. Understand? Right? Or I could do what I want. Understand where I come from? I could do anything I want. Right? So they continue to be murderers and liars and adulterers. Understand? Continue to put a foot on people's neck. Understand? To oppress people. Right? Continue to join the military, right? And the police service just to oppress your own people. The same people. Understand? That from your nation, you join these organizations to get leverage just to oppress them. Understand? Or you fight for leadership positions in different organizations just to oppress your own people, to mistreat them. Understand? Right? This is what the Christian churches do. And they have no remorse about it. Understand? The Christian church likes to be lawless, fights to be lawless, is proud, understand, to be lawless in society. Understand? When you look at all the drug dealers and murderers, all of them, they always have a rosary around the neck. Because why? That is what Christianity does teach. It teaches that you could be a murderer and God will still accept me. Understand? It teaches that you could be a homosexual and God will still accept you. You could sleep with somebody's wife and God will still accept you. Understand? You could be a lesbian and God could still accept you. Understand? Right? And according to the Bible, that is not so. You understand? According to the Bible, that is far from the truth. Right? The book of we just jump over a little bit to Revelations 21 and 8. Right? The book of Revelations 21 and 8 say, but the fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. You understand? Right? That is what's going on. You understand where I come from? Right? And the Christian church make it feel like everything all right. God love everybody. And that's where I'm coming from, right? If God love everybody, right? Then why he put away the murderers and the whoremongers and the liars, right? And the abominable and the unbelieving? Why he putting them in the lake that burns with brimstone and fire? Why he putting them inside it? But God love everybody. You understand? These are the things the Christian church doesn't teach its people. Right? Your Christian pastor, right? The Christian pork eating pastor wouldn't show you this. Understand? Because he busy collecting tithes and offerings. Right? He busy selling prayer cloths. Right? He busy telling you lay your hand on the screen. Right? And pledge and to sow a seed. Call in and pledge to sow a seed. Right? And when true disaster come, that when they lock up all the churches. No aid. Understand? The whole of Corona come. Understand? Look, even locally here in Trinidad, the Corona come, members attending these churches day and night, night after night, night after night, night after night. Understand? All right? And the churches gathering all this funding, right? And all this monies from the membership. And Corona come, and a lot of people in their same organizations lost their jobs, right? Struggling to manage their families, and the church is still waiting on a grant from the government in order to help their members. They're not even spending the money that they have. Understand? They're not even spending the money that they gathered over these years to help their own members. Understand? They rather wait on a grant from the government to give them to help the people. Understand? And when the government give them the grant, they're taking half and then only share in the next half. Understand? Right? And this is the hypocrisy of these Christian churches. Understand? And that's what makes the Christian church a relative of lawlessness. Understand? They continue to abuse the people, right? And not tell them the truth about the Bible, not tell them the truth about the scriptures. Right? They continue to leave the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man in darkness. Understand? And when we say in darkness, leave him ignorant of the things that he should be doing and doing in the scriptures. Right? Right? And all these and one of the major block for the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is why? Because these churches will not show him his identity. It wouldn't show the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man that he is from a nation that was chosen by the Most High, chosen to be upright in the sight of the Most High, a nation that should rule over all nations of the earth. Right? And these are not things that I say, these things that are written in the scriptures, right? You jump back to Deuteronomy for a while. Right? And these right, these Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6. Right? And it's saying, keep therefore and do them, talking about the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. It's saying, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. Right? And these were the laws, the statutes and commandments that the Most High gave us. Right? And we were supposed to apply and do these things. And understand? Live good with one another. Celebrate the high holy days that the Most High gave us to celebrate. Right? Just like when you log on to the I.S.U.P.K website, right? And all the different various schools, we just came out of the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? When all the world do it, when all the world do it one thing, we choose to keep the things that the Most High say for us to do. We choose to celebrate what? The Passover. We choose to do what? Keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right? While the world continue to go in chaos and calamity. Understand? Right? And fighting to run from Corona. Right? The Corona overtake India. And what the rich in India do, they decide to go and jump on the private jet and fly to another country. Right? Because they feel what? They could fly away in the private jet from Corona. Not knowing that when they go to the next country have Corona as well. And no matter where you go, the coronavirus spreading from country to country to country. So no man could escape. And that is like when we was reading earlier in Deuteronomy 28, when they say no man could escape these curses. You understand? If you're black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right, you need to come back and start what? Living a righteous and upright life under the commanding GEN.YAHANNA and the I.S.U.P.K. Right? Come let the I.S.U.P.K show you how to serve the Most High. Right? And how to serve him in truth. Right? And not deceitfulness and hypocrisy like the Christian church. Right? We will jump across to we will take Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. Right? And this is what made the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man different from all other nations. Right? This is Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Right? And this is Moses explaining to the people. Right? This is what the Most High do. The Most High say, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Right? The nation of Israel, the nation of the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is a holy or a separate people unto the Most High. Right? The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Right? The Christian church will show that. The Christian church will show that the Lord chose the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, the same black man that is lying down and struggling in the street. Understand? If we could come together as a nation, right? And give up all this lawless culture that we learned from these other nations, right? The black man in John and Beatum and Labrie, right? And Chumakak, right? And Maloney, right? Or the black man in Point Fortin, right? If we could come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments, we go be what? This is what we will be. The Lord had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. We will be a special people unto the Most High, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And I'm going to read that part again and say what? Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Understand? We will be above all people. And to be above all people, it means you will be floating in the air. It means the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man will be in rulership on the face of the earth. We will be the dominant nation of the earth. Right? Because the Most High gave us upright and righteous laws, right? That were supposed to be executed upon the face of the earth, right? And as we shared earlier, we didn't keep these laws, we didn't keep these statutes, we didn't keep these commandments. Understand? We chose to what? To do what? Give up our culture. Understand? Give up all give up the constitution that runs a nation. We give up that and accepted the culture of another nation. Understand? We gave up, according to the scriptures, we gave up our honor to another nation. You understand? Right? And that is why we fall to adultery and homosexuality and all these different pagan holidays that you see us celebrating day after day, night after night in this world. Right? When we shouldn't be participating in none of these things. You understand? We shouldn't be going up on no mount, right? You understand? Mount St. Benedict to light no candle. Understand? For some homosexual priests, understand? To pray for something on behalf of you to God. God would not hear that prayer. Understand? These things are not of the Most High. Understand? According to the Bible, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man supposed to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and supposed to reach to a place, right, where what? His sin is dead. That's the level the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man supposed to reach. Understand? Right? Where what? Where you can function, understand? But they're not under the punishment of the laws of the Most High. Understand? You bring yourself to an upright and righteous place. Understand? The Most High don't have to whip you to serve Him. Understand? You actually chosen to do what is right in the sight of the Most High. Understand? Without having to have laws hanging over your head for you to do the right thing. Without having to have punishments over your head for you to do the right thing. Understand? You would be born, a family would be born doing what is right in the sight of the Most High. Understand? Without somebody lording over you with a whip. Understand? To do what is righteous in the sight of the Most High. So the scripture saying in Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. Right? The Lord, this is verse 7. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all the people. So not because we were a big nation with a whole set of people that the Lord chose we. He never chose we. Because of our numbers, right? Verse 8, let's say, but because the Lord loved you, because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, had the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And that's where I'm coming from. So it's the most I love that keep we, and the promise that we made to our forefathers. You understand? That we wouldn't go to waste. You understand? And become nothing. You understand? And when we look at today, you understand, we end up in captivity under the so-called white man, under America. Yeah, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, right? All these tribes, right? The lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, right? Right? Predominantly in the western side of the world today, under the empire of America, right? We scattered all over the world, but predominantly the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel is under the empire of America in captivity, predominantly on the western side of the world, all Panama, Guatemala, Venezuela, Chile, Argentina, Trinidad, Jamaica, St. Lucia, all going up the islands, right? They have Cuba, right? And in America, heartland itself. Understand? The tribe of Judah. Understand? In the Nekai enemies, right? Right? And what? Thank God for the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have a chance to do what is right in the sight of the Most High. Now we have a chance not to be lawless. You understand? Now we have a chance not to be a relative of Christianity. You understand? Now we have a chance to do what is right and to walk upright and to pass it on to our sons and our sons' and their sons, right? And lift our people, right, under our King Yahushai, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA and the I.S.U.P.K. Now we have the I.S.U.P.K is the tool, understand, that you could use, understand, to walk in righteousness, Come in the ISUPK, learn the laws, understand? Learn your culture, learn your history, learn your heritage, understand? And then build it a step further in what? In brotherhood, understand? In sisterhood, understand? Being righteous, being upright, understand? Without having somebody to tell you to do what is right, you would naturally want to do what is right. That is brotherhood. That is sisterhood. You understand? Taking it to the next level under command in GEN.YAHANNA, in the I.S.U.P.K. Right? And come out of the Christian church. The Christian church is full of liars. And as the scripture says, full of hypocrisy. Right? And from there, we will do one more. We will go in the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1, Babakasha. The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1, right? Baruch is in the Apocrypha, and for a lot of people don't know, right, that the Apocrypha was in the King James 1611 Bible, right, and was taken out by the Christian Protestant Church, right? It was removed, right? When you buy a King James 1611 Bible, if you buy the old version, right, of the King James 1611 Bible, you would find the Apocrypha in it. But the newer versions of the Bible, you would find it without the Apocrypha in it. And the Apocrypha carried the Greek account, right, of what happened to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian people. And the Protestant church took it out, all right, during the time of slavery, because they didn't want blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian man reading about the evil that the Greeks did to us. Understand? Right? The abuse we took under the Greeks. They didn't want us to read that in slavery. So they removed it. Understand? In order for the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man not to know. Right? And in order for them to have not to have any revolts. Right? So that the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian servitude, right? They removed the Apocrypha, right? But the Apocrypha was in the King James 1611 Bible, right? It's part of the 1611 Bible, right? But was removed out of the modern day Bible around 1864, right? That's when the Apocrypha was removed, and we have the Bible as it is today, right? But you could still get the Apocrypha today, right? And this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1 in the Apocrypha. All right, here in the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA, we don't read part of the Bible, we read the whole Bible from beginning to end, right? So this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1, and it says, this book is the commandments of God. And I'm going to read back the first part again and say what? This book is the commandments of God, right? It didn't say the first 10 commandments, right? It's the commandments of God. They say the book. Understand? All through the book, right? It's laws, statutes, commandments, right? That the Most High gave to us, right? And the law that endureth forever, right? And this is the law. This law endure forever, right? It didn't say it is an old dispensation, or it didn't say this happened in this was only for Moses' time. Understand? Or it didn't say them laws done away with according to the Christian church. They say what? The law endureth forever, right? And all they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Understand? And I say all they that keep it shall come to life. All they that keep it shall do what? Come into the true knowledge of the Most High, into the truth, right? So like here, right? The law is the law is is we life experience, right? The law is your way, not your way. The law is our way of living our best life when we apply the laws, statutes, and commandments. At the Most High, you will live your best life on the face of the earth. And understand, you will be able to escape all these different calamities, right, that the heathens and all these lawless Christians face. And understand, because they choose to remain ignorant at the laws of the Most High, right? So you do what? You will come to life. And understand, you will come to what? A new you. As the scripture says, you'll become a what? A new creature in Christ, right? And such as leave it shall die. Understand? And though it only mean that you will die a physical death, right? But what it means is you'll continue to remain in the slums and in the ghetto, understand? And in poverty and in hardship, understand? Your life will continue to be in turmoil, right? Because why you choose not to do the things that the Most High say to do, understand? You'll continue to be what? Dead. You'll continue to wish you was dead. You understand? You want to know, you can't explain how your life turned out to be that way. You start out one way, and then you want to know, well, how my life turned out to be this way, right? And all these things happen because why? The Christian church does not teach the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man these things. Does not teach the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man that if you do not keep these laws, or if you just continue to walk lawless in society with no rules and no guide for his life, he will continue to be what? Dead. Continue to see oppression and poverty and hard times and hardship, right? And continue to be under constant oppression from this society. He will continue to be a byword and face police brutality and racism, right? All these things the black man will experience, right? Because why? He continues to remain ignorant of the things that the Most High gave us, ignorant of our economic might, ignorant of our history, culture, identity, all these things. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man would not learn in the Christian church. But thank God for the I.S.U.P.K under command of GEN.YAHANNA. You could come to the school, right? You could do the classes online. So like, yeah, you can do the classes online, and you get to learn your history and your culture and your identity as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, and what you should do on the face of the earth, and who you should be, and what knowledge, and you will gain knowledge to pass down to your children and to your children, so that they may become mighty men back on the face of the earth. Right? And with that, we will end the class. The class right here, right? So we will go through we'll just go to the I.S.U.P.K announcements, and we'll close off, right? This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements, right? We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of GEN.YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3 verses 8 to 10. It means 10 in the Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'ishra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, right? And then we have the upcoming Holy Convocation, right? The upcoming Holy Convocation is the Feast of First Fruits. Starts after the Sabbath of unleavened bread, sundown, Saturday, April 3rd, 2021. Counts 50 days, right? Which will be Saturday, the 22nd, May 2021. Starts before sundown. You can find this in Leviticus chapter 23, verses 10 to 22. Remind Akim and Aquakim to check on social media. such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he's to start wearing all black, which include black boots, like shirt, like pants, like headbands or scarf. All right? And we're going to end the class. Remember to like and subscribe on the Facebook and YouTube platforms, right? And all other social media platforms, right? And with that, we say shalom.